All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. That's carried. And now we move on to the Land Use Recovery Plan update.
So, would you like me to give a brief overview of that, Madam Chair?
Yeah, that'd be good. Thank you.
So, as most of you will know, the LURP, or the Land Use Recovery Plan, was gazetted by the Minister on December 2013, and that had about 50 actions in it, of which 25 were directed towards Christchurch City Council. It's a Greater Christchurch document, so the remainder were for either New Zealand Transport Agency or ECAN or Selwyn or Waimea. And of those, about 11 or 12, I think, related to the district plan review, and it either directed immediate changes to our operative plan or directed the district plan review, which we've, looking to finish as we speak. There are also some other non-statutory actions in there as well, and really what this report has sought to do is provide you with an update on where those are at. We have had a LURP working party for a couple of years. It hasn't met for some time now, and the reason for that is for all intents and purposes, a lot of the work done, which was introduced through the work, has actually been done or already sits within our work program. So certainly the stuff that relates to the district plan review, those initial changes were done very early on, and the changes to the residential / business commercial chapters have also been completed through the district plan review. John Meeker's here because he's closest to some of the ones that you may have an interest in, and those are the ones around the CHRN, the community housing redevelopment areas, and other such ones. So happy to take any questions.
Questions?
Vicky? In relation to the work by Housing New Zealand on Brindwa and Shirley, which are part of the parcel of state housing currently up for expressions of interest, what happens with that? I'm just assuming nothing.
The two exemplars being pursued by Housing New Zealand, they were sort of put on hold, waiting to find out what would happen in these, I suppose, two potential master plan areas, one in Shirley, one potentially in Brinda a few years down the road. So I think they were keen to not do any development on those sites until they're clear about how that would fit into the wider perspective, because it brings in a number of large sites in a significant location. So
the Brinda presentation was 2.5 years ago.
Yep.
Way before there was any suggestion of possible sale.
Is it Brindwa or Shirley?
Well, there was a smaller one in Brindwa and quite a major one in Shirley. The Brindwa one was only about 3 houses becoming 13 or something of that scale.
Right.
It was quite a small one, could easily have been done in their rebuild, but that's not a happening thing either.
No. I mean, I think there's the master plan for the whole of Shirley, which I think you're referring to, but then there were two smaller 4 or 5 lot developments that would bring together a larger group. Neither of those are being progressed.
No. All right. With Yanni.
Wanted to check what's happening with Andrews Crescent, the exemplar.
So my understanding, as far as that one goes, my colleague's dealing with that one, but there is still a commercial partnering process going on with a third-party commercial company to bring that forward in partnership with council. At the moment, I'm not entirely sure of its current status, but I think the economics of that site, and particularly the mix between private housing and effectively the social housing components, they couldn't quite get the right balance in terms of the economics, and that's just been a sticking point for 12 months or so now.
Has there been any sort of lessons learnt done over the whole exemplar projects? I mean, just to the best of my knowledge, not a single exemplar has been done since the earthquake.
So looking across the 8, the site at Spraden Lodge, that one is progressing. It's got its land use zoning and development has started on there, albeit the first 20 lots or so. The Rickerton scheme, which you're going to hear about later, is that came off the exemplar wagon somewhere around 2015, and we reported that to you at the time. The two Housing New Zealand sites, as we've just discussed, that they've chosen not to progress with those, and Council's own exemplar sites, they were tied up to some extent with a special consultative procedure around mixed housing supply on there, and subsequently they've been sort of tied into, to some extent, the commercial
I was just kind of thinking, like, you know, it would be really interesting to have a kind of lessons learned around the fact that we haven't had a single complete showcase of what future housing, exemplar housing could be in this modern sort of environment. I mean, obviously the residential demonstrator project fell over as well. So the whole purpose of having these was to showcase what we could do post-earthquake in terms of getting better development outcomes for housing. And yet now this housing's sort of happening at the end of the recovery process rather than as a leader.
Accepted. I think it's fair to say there were a lot of incentives and encouragements, but perhaps not enough obligations rather than sticks.
Okay.
That would be my assessment of how they've gone.
Yeah.
Sorry, just a very quick one around the Build Back Smarter stuff. The Sustainable Homes Working Party, I think it was. So is that still happening in terms of where is that at? Okay, is that something you can answer?
Yeah, I mean, it's still being delivered. It is, okay.
It is?
Yeah, it is still being delivered.
Cool.
Insurance companies haven't helped. They were a part of it. They pulled out. But it's still,
They did
it's still
pull
being
out, did
delivered.
they? Yeah, no, I was just wondering because I haven't heard much about it.
Well, we have got an eco-advisor here at the council because she attended one of the events. I went to a housing event with me, and I mentioned her in my comments so that she could meet a lot of the developers that were at the event. I just wonder whether we should get an update. And
Tony Moore would be the person.
yeah, but she's got a different. Yeah. Julie Villard, yeah. That's probably VR, something. She's French. Yeah. Okay. So we'll make a note of that because I think that we should get an update from what council's doing in that regard. I don't know whether it needs to be recorded here, but it's sort of relevant to the land use recovery plan, but not core critical to receiving the update. Would you like to move the report be received? Seconded by Glenn. I'm looking at you. Yep. I'll put that motion.